of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 4, episode number 29. Today's the sports edition. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well, recovering from the weekend. Long weekend. We're a day late today.
Memorial weekend here at the end of May. It'll be June here before we know it. We've got lots of sports to talk about, lots of things going on, which I'm sure you'll cover.
Lots of different things going on. Not your stereotypical episode today.
A lot of things are overlapping. So that's what we try to do here in the show, is to keep the listeners informed, right?
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's all we do is educate. Program, right?
All we do is educate.
Keep it straight so people know what's going on. So there's listeners out there that are confused. Maybe we just kind of set them straight. But we'll start off with a trivia question.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, because it's May 30th, it's relevant. The trivia question is relevant because what took place in Major League Baseball today? What took place? What Major League Baseball streak began on May 30th, on this day in 1982? What streak?
Okay. I'm not going to give the answer because I know it, but this was going to be my This Week in 80s sports thing, so we kind of overlap the two days. So
it is 80s. It's a memorable streak. When we give the answer at the end of the show, most of the viewers will say, yes, I knew that. But
a little behind the curtain look.
Many streaks. There's so many streaks.
A little behind the curtain look to the show. Dan sends me a copy of the question about 15 minutes before we start. So I had to, I'll take those two screens out and go with it, whatever. So not a lot of thought goes in the show, as you know. So
you did. So you had those ready to rock.
It was going to be my 80s stat of the week, but you know what?
I horned in there and took it from you, but that's how we roll here, you know.
We wing it. That's what we do.
Now, I've got another stat of the week, Andy. When we get to the, it's not the 80s, but I'll mention this here before we start, because I don't think you have it. Or do you have it on this day in baseball, 1927?
No.
On this day in baseball in 1927, two Major League Baseball players turned unassisted triple plays on the same day, separate games, but on the very same day, two unassisted triple plays took place in Major League Baseball.
In the same game or just the same day?
Same day. Different game altogether, different people altogether. But that's why I wrote it down, because I was thinking about making that the trivia game, but the trivia of the day, but that's coming up on 100 years old.
Were the New York Yankees involved somewhere in there, the 27 Yankees?
Well, the Yankees, that's their historical season, was 27. The other thing was, it was Walter Johnson's last career shutout, I think was.
Yeah.
The last time he threw a shutout was on this day, 1927 also.
Big day.
So I started there, but I had to lean towards something else. You'll all get the answers here at the end. But let's start off with some sports, Andy. I'll bring up your screen.
Here you are.
Here we go.
You know, you get the local news around here. Everybody wants to talk about local stuff. So celebrity was in town for 3 months. They're one of us now. Well, this girl's not a celebrity from just recently. She is celebrity. We are starting local. There she is, Tiffany Stratton, and is the new NXT Women's Heavyweight Champion. She came in the picture. The one picture you see there, it's Tiffy time. Then she won the title that night. Watching her moves in the ring, it's just incredible what she does. Here's a little background on little Miss Tiffany. Championships and accomplishments from 16 to 17. She was a gymnast in college and high school, which we'll get to in a little bit here, and a pretty darn good one if you look at there. 7th place, 3rd places, 4th, 2nd. So pretty good gymnast. Right now, the current NXT Women's Champion. Tiffany Stratton from Prior Lake, one of us. Went to St. Kate's for college.
Yes.
Now you look at her background there for little Miss Jessica. A pro wrestler, a bodybuilder, and a gymnast. That means not only will she come kick your ass, she's going to do backflips afterwards to be celebrating it.
That's exactly what will happen.
And a few stats on her here. She was born May 1st, 1999 from Prior Lake, Minnesota. Odds are, Dan, someone in your family knows someone in her family. She's from Prior Lake. You know how that goes.
Yes.
Ring name Tiffany Stratton. Build is a 5'7". Of course, I blocked out the weight because we don't talk about ladies' weights on the show.
That's correct.
We don't do that. She's from Prior Lake, trained by Greg Gagne, and then the WWE Performance Center. Made her debut just November of 21, November 16th, so not in the business long. If you're not familiar with WWE NXT, it's their minor leagues. It's their AAA. A lot of people get called up from there. Sometimes this will be her name in NXT when she goes up to the big show. They might even change your name again. So I'm pretty sure, though, she's a champion doing well. They'll let her keep this name. They're very high on this young woman. Very, very good. And we'll get into her family history in another show one day.
Oh, yes. There is a connection.
But yeah, she's Tiffy time. That's a clue. That's her catchphrase now. Huh? She is a heel, I believe, right now. So, but that flips over in the minors there for wrestling. So just keep an eye on her. NXT, AEW, and WWE all had big pay-per-views that weekend. So we're gonna keep going on the wrestling front here. AEW had their Double or Nothing. I'm just going to kind of cover some of the title changes, not the other ones here. The AEW champion, Jamie Hayter, lost the belt to Toni Storm, who's the heel. And a little backstory in this one. A lot of word is that Jamie Hayter had a sore shoulder. They didn't know if it was a work or a shoot, meaning was it real or were they faking it? Well, they're going to have her lose the title, so it wouldn't be another intern championship, just the champion. A lot of word is they're going to have her drop the belt here. Injury legit or not, it could be just wear and tear in the body. She's going to take time off because coming up in a few months is their big pay-per-view in London where Jamie Hayter's from.
Okay.
So if you can come make the big comeback, win the championship back, crowd goes crazy. Yeah. So there you go. So that's that. That's the gal with the green hair. Ruby Soho used to be Ruby Riott in WWE. That's Paige from WWE, or Soraya, she goes by her real name now. If you go, hey, they look familiar. Yeah, that's who they are. Another match, Jade Cargill, who was wrestling against Ty Valkyrie for the TV title, the women's TV title. Jade won and went 60-0. She's never lost a match.
Ooh.
Then her manager got a little cocky afterwards and said, we'll wrestle the next person who comes out who wants it. Coming back from injury, Chris Statlander comes out and beat her. So there's my girl, Chris Statlander. She is the new TV champion. So congrats to her. So the two gals changed belts on AEW over the weekend. WWE had a new title belt, and Seth Rollins, he's from Iowa. That's kind of like being one of us.
Yes.
We good Iowans sometimes. He's their new champion, but they got so many belts down there. I don't know really what it means, but he's got one now. He's a good guy, though. He's got wrestling school. He's cool. Asuka beat Bianca Belair, who had been there, basically Hulk Hogan with the title. She was beating everybody and their brother and liking it. And for some reason, she dropped it to Asuka. So I don't know if there was, again, injury on her part. Did she go film a movie? Just a break? Who knows? You can't tell in this picture very well, but these matches were in Saudi Arabia. If you notice, the gals, the referee, are clothed from wrist to ankles. They're not wearing their typical, here's my boobs and ass outfits.
I did not know that. Okay.
So if you kind of notice these pictures, for the gals, when they wrestle in Saudi Arabia, they got to be covered up. They can't come out in their regular gear. So they got to be all covered up. Even the referee, she can't show her arms. She's got a turtleneck on there. So
Okay.
And in the other women's match, it was Rhea Ripley against Natalya. And the thing that's weird about this is Rhea did maintain her title, but she beat Natalya like in under a minute. And a lot of people are saying this is because Vince McMahon is back writing again. And he's not a big fan of Natalya, but she's going to let him make a fool of her because before her dad died, Vince paid for all of his rehab and everything else afterwards. So it's kind of a Vince has her by the short hairs, and she just sits there and takes it. And there she's put her, and you see how neither one of them normally dress like that, but there's their outfits from neck to wrist to ankles. It's kind of all covered up.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not know that. Okay, makes sense.
I did not know that. In other news.
Oh, yes.
Other lady wrestling news. Now, before everybody gets excited about other people coming in, they announced pregnancies here. Alexa Bliss is pregnant. Test tubes out. So she'll be out for a while, but it's kind of wondering where she's been. Well, here's why. She posted on her social media today. She's pregnant. Baby coming in December. So the WWE and the whole Bray Wyatt storyline, Alexa Bliss was part of that. I guess she's scratched for a while. And also in AEW, Sammy Guevara and his wife, Ty, announced pregnancy on the pay-per-view over the weekend, actually. So she'll be out of action for a few months now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sammy takes a leave near end of the year when they're due also. So
Okay.
Congrats to those families there.
Nice.
If Major League Baseball ended today, not going to do the standings, but here's the playoff picture as of today per Fox News or Fox Sports. Now, I'm not trying to be a homer. And of course, see, I'm putting this on there and there's no Mets logo to be found.
Oh, yes. I did not notice that.
So,
no Mets?
No Mets logo, and I'm still talking about it because I'm a journalist, Dan.
You're doing the job, being non-biased.
I'm a journalist.
That's
now,
good.
Also the journalist in me, just a thumb at the Fox because I would like to see it. If this is the way it was, I'd like to see the championships be Texas against Baltimore, Milwaukee against Arizona, just to say thumb you to the big cities and the networks.
Wow, and that
very well could happen.
That could very well happen.
Or even Tampa and Texas. Someone besides New York and Houston in the American League. Even Minnesota, for God's sake. Yes. Anyone but the Yankees and Houston from the American League. And not the Braves and Dodgers from the National. And not San Francisco either. They're kind of a big market anyway. Not the big market teams.
That's an interesting scenario. Now, what we should do is file this away, Andy. Send it over to Connie and have her file this to bring it up in October.
Yep. Here's how the stats were end of May. Like I said, there's really, if you count San Francisco big market, there's 4 or 5 big markets on there. A lot of little markets. That's what I like. It's not, you don't see Boston on there. You don't see the Mets on there. Don't see the Padres. All the big dollars teams on there,
How about the Oakland A's?
No, I'm getting to that. Okay. You'll see why they're not on there in a little bit. We'll talk about Mets injuries and roster moves first here. Gary Sanchez, who the Mets released, is now the Padres' problem. So the Padres are going to pick up part of that contract. If not, the Mets would have been on the hook for the whole thing. But Sanchez will now try a third team this year. And we have not had the All-Star break yet. We'll see if have one of the interns look on that. Most teams in a year for one player. Because he's going on number 3 already, and we're not at the break yet.
Well,
so let's make
he's in the running.
Let's make a note of that. We're gonna write that down here.
Nelson Cruz, huh?
He was up there. Gary Sanchez. All right, I got noted. I'll tweet that to Connie later. Tyler Whitey as he's called. The Twins traded him to the Mets. And the Twins had him on the reserved minors list, as do the Mets. Everybody's like, what the hell's a reserve minor list? So I Googled it. Basically, if you're injured, you're suspended or whatever, or it's one of those, they'll put you on the temporary inactive list because you're about to get called up for a doubleheader, so you're not going to tie up a spot on either team type of thing. Tyler White, 32 years old, not exactly a rookie, not exactly long in the tooth, but I don't know why the Mets went after another right-handed hitting first baseman when you got the guy leading the majors in home runs with Pete Alonso. Unless they're not happy with Vogelbach, but why would you get another right-handed hitter?
Interesting. Now, White was with the Brewers, I think, and then has been around for a while, like you said. Mm-hmm. He's in the Twins, was playing with the Saints, first baseman. Now he got traded to the Mets.
Yes.
I did not even know that.
So I don't even know why the Mets, this is just the other day on the 28th. So why the Mets went after and put him at the AAA team too. So I don't know if they're working out if the Mets are banking up on guys for trades later in the year. Try to make that push.
This guy would certainly be serviceable, for postseason down the stretch if another injury came in. He's a proven guy in the majors.
Or a DH for a team or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Bobby Witt Jr., big stud for the Kansas City Royals, son of Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt Jr. went 4 for 5 and had 5 RBIs and 3 runs scored on a game this week. He is the only Major League Baseball player to notch 4+ hits, hit 2+ home runs, and drive in 5+ runs. And what's the next line here, Dan, do you think?
In a single game.
Well, no, he did that in a game. So he didn't do that for a game. See, the first player to do that, born in the 2000s. See, the first second-generation player to do it. No.
First father.
He's the first player to do it and lose the game.
Oh, God.
Major League Baseball players have combined 47-0 when doing that in the game since they started keeping track of RBIs in 1920.
Okay, so it's been done
47 times. And he's the first one.
This is the 48th time it's been done.
And he lost. Look at those numbers again. 4 for 5. So he had 4 hits. 2 of them were homers, and he had 5 RBIs.
I'm sure Kirby Puckett's done that in the past.
And
they lost the game.
And lost the game.
That's going to be a great trivia question answer down the road for Mr. Bobby Witt Jr.
Future history stuff we're going over here, Dan.
Yes.
Louis Arise, a once-in-a-generation artist. This is off a tweet from John Morrison. He's on pace to slug for over 450 while hitting 5 or fewer home runs. Only one player has done that in the last 70 years, and that was Wade Boggs, and he did it twice.
Wow.
Because look at where Boggs played, though, at Fenway. You know how many opposite field doubles he got off the monster all the time? How many times did he win the league in doubles?
Huge slugging percentage, but no low homers.
Slugging percentage of 450. Didn't lead the league in slugging, just slugging to 450. But you look at Boggs' record, how many times he led in doubles or was top 5 for doubles.
Wow.
He was a master. He would push the ball off the monster and get a double from the left side of the plate. Easy money. It was almost sad to watch, you know. And as a non-Red Sox fan, I almost thought he was cheating doing it in a way.
And that's also the reason I think they went after Joe Mauer for those years to get him into town.
Yeah,
because they thought he could pull a stunt like that and get a bunch of doubles and hit for average and everything else.
Well, that's why the Red Sox went after Herbeck in the 80s too, because the short porch over there too.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that's why David Ortiz had so many home runs. He would have done that well anywhere, but that little porch helped. Salvio Perez tied a Gary Gaetti record for the Royals for most home runs in a month with 9.
Wow.
Gary Gaetti in 95 had 9 homers in a month for the Royals.
The Rat?
The Rat. See, if we did 90s stats, I would have done this one, but we don't.
Okay.
So 95. So the Rat. Well, the Gary Gaetti stat of the month we'll maybe come up with. So there's that one. And now here's a great promotion. Alaska Airlines has teamed up with Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners. Every time he hits a home run, number 44, whatever sections he's in, everybody gets a free round-trip flight of their choosing.
Oh, that is awesome. So, okay, so this is home games only now?
Yep,
okay.
Home games in Seattle, 44 fans in that section. Now, it's just Alaska Airlines, so it's like you can go to Tokyo or maybe Tokyo, I don't know, but you can't go to like Moscow from Seattle, you know. Pretty sure it's just up and down the West Coast there, but still.
So that's going to put a lot of
Minneapolis. We took Alaska Airlines from Minneapolis, so yeah.
That's going to put a lot of fans in the seats in those spots where he hits home runs. Is
in the general niche seats, right-handed pull hitter. Yeah, they're going to all sit out there.
That'll be kind of fun watching those games now. So, that's a great promotion by Alaska Airlines, by the way.
If he hits an inside the park home run, do they pick 44 players from the 2 teams then?
That's a good question.
Included.
I bet it's in the contract if you read the fine print.
Yeah, it's got to go over the wall or something. So that ball boy might want to go, hey. Just saying.
That's a great promotion, though. I did not hear of that.
I don't know. Keep calm, Dan. The soapbox bit is coming up.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently.
Just keep calm. And that's why the A's aren't in the playoffs, Dan. They got the worst team average, worst record, worst run differential, worst team ERA.
There's your answer.
The best part of all that, Kyle Schwarber has the worst batting average at 168. Anytime I put a Philly up there doing the worst of something, makes my day.
That is, the A's have all of those, all 4.
Yes. Jeez. The golden sombrero.
I mean, that's 6.787. So
40 and 120, Dan. That's the worst record ever. The Mets had that at one time.
You're giving up on
very
average
excited.
7 runs a game, while at the same time your team yourself is really just hitting 220. It's tough to even get close in those games. They'll be interesting team to watch during the trade season.
Yep. Like I said, also 40 worst record in baseball. The 6-2 Mets are watching this very closely. They might pop the champagne like the undefeated Dolphins or something, They do it. So here we go. The watch is on. And speaking of watches, Dan, don't forget a couple months. Don't we have a little bet you got to update the fans on here at the end of the month?
Yes, I have to find the file and send it to you tomorrow because we have a bet.
I'm tasting that ham's real good after this month, baby.
Oh, it was a tough month.
It took it on the chin.
Twins only won 2 series in the month of May, losing all the rest. And they're playing right now. But very, very difficult month. Lots of things happening. So we'll update that. We'll send that out to the fans tomorrow. I do have some Twins notes here coming up at the end of the segment.
WNBA stuff. Got a couple things here for you. Now, here's their week 2 power rankings, and you see the lengths have dropped to 12th. I just keep that in mind. Like I said, there's only 14 teams in the league. So don't get too excited. Get to the standings a little bit. But here, these young girls, these young Thundercats have to learn. One gal came out. If we can't make roster spots for rookies, cut the vets, she says. The vets got to know when to cut at the net and pass the torch, bro.
Okay.
She later on came back to retract those statements. So we'll just see how little Miss Stello does here. Popping off like that. Alexis Morris telling the vets to step back, let the kids come in.
I think fair enough to think that, but you go around saying it and making it that's going to really double back on you like a boomerang, I think.
You and your buddies talked about that over beer and nachos, not on social media.
Yes, and she might even be right, but once again, you make a tweet about that.
Yeah,
it's going to come back like a boomerang.
And I'm not saying this has happened, but maybe a vet on their team might be a little stiff on a charge or a little elbow on one in the lane there. So,
oh yes,
if it was the 80s NBA, it would.
Well, all the other things, the indirect things that are going to result from this statement is going to be very interesting, like you said.
Now, remember here we said the Lynx were 12th in the power rankings. So let's go here to the standings. In the East, Chicago's ahead. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams there. There's 12 teams in the league. The Lynx are last because, they're 0-4.
0-4.
So they'll think, they're 12th out of 12 teams. So
12 out of 12, worst power ranking at 0-4.
And you got the
it's a 40-game season or so it doesn't mean much, but it's an indicator, so to say, to start with. Not a good one.
And it's only a 40-game season. You're 4 games out already. You have the Las Vegas Aces. That's Becky Hammond and her team. They're just going to crush. So, yeah.
All they can do is hope to start making up some ground there.
Yeah. Make it exciting. Be fun to watch because you're a young team. Push that logo, Here we go, Dan.
All right.
Get the popcorn, get the beer. Soapbox.
Yes.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Major new wrinkle emerges in the Jimmy Garoppolo contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is why I hate contracts and I hate lawyers. He failed the physical with the Raiders, and his contract had to be reworked as a result. And before I go further, you signed him before the physical. Then by getting a job at 3M as an accountant, and you have trouble with your times tables. You have a third grade math education, but you're the accountant at 3M. Did you not check this stuff out?
Now, is this is for real?
Yes. It gets better.
I have not seen this.
It gets better. So he got $11.25 million for writing Jimmy G on a piece of paper. And but he failed the physical, so instead of getting 11.25 signing bonus, 11.25 for the year, those make it 22.5 for the. So he's still getting all the money.
Okay.
Addendum G. It's kind of like the whole poison thing and with contracts. So as originally negotiated, Garoppolo had a $11.25 million signing bonus and a base salary of $11.25 million for 23. Foot injury resulted from the Raiders removing the signing bonus, with the full $22.5 million becoming the base salary. So if I'm reading that right, he's still getting $22.5 million. It's how they're paying it is different.
They just switched it around, switching
Right.
pockets there.
Yep. But in short, he could end up being removed without even seeing him put on a uniform or paying him a dime if they say, nope, we're not going to let you try to play with this injured foot at all. See you bye. So he failed the physical. They could either cut bait and fish, say, see you bye, you get nothing, or, well, you can still play and we'll just give you the $22.5 million anyway.
Quite the conundrum. Now, how serious is this injury?
What's that foot injury in San Francisco last year where the other guy came in and gave him a big run?
That third string.
Yeah, so, and Garoppolo's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. But quarterbacks kind of need their feet. So.
But if he outright failed the physical, my goodness. It's
Carlos Carrera, does that mean anything to you?
Well, I don't know if Carlos failed the physical.
But he failed the Mets ones and the Giants ones and the Twins still. So, but what I'm saying is, here's another story of a guy who, you got cut by your other team because of an injury. We'll sign you to big money before a physical. Who does that? Maybe I'll get a job as a pastry chef somewhere and hope everybody likes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Now, typically they'll announce in a press release that, hey, we're signing someone and we will be signing on the dotted line pending the physical, pending the outcome of his aforementioned physical. Then, if he fails it, it's something else. It sounds like they signed him regardless.
Yep.
And said, now we'll still give you the money, but they still can now outright cut him and leave altogether.
Here's 11.25 for writing Jimmy G on a piece of paper. Don't just hold your hat, Stan. We have another soapbox.
Oh my Lord! We
got not even your birthday.
Okay. This is good. This is Christmas comes early. Here we go. What is
right.
it?
This is from WDAY TV in North Dakota. Timothy Burden, family attorney, said that even after requests, what happened is there was two players that were Native Americans for a Jamestown team went to court because of racial slurs being yelled at their kids on the court. Okay, I'm going to back this up a little bit here. Little Professor Andy geography question for you. Jamestown, North Dakota. Pretty sure these two kids aren't the only Native Americans I've ever seen.
Yes.
So, not saying be used to racial slurs. Not saying that at all. It's not like it's the 50s and you're the first African American kid to be in Minnesota and everybody's making fun of you. You're familiar with these people. There is like saying a left-handed person, no big deal.
Yep.
Now, high school kids say things, I get that, but some of them cross the lines at this point. There are other races everywhere. What gets me on this is they tried to get with the North Dakota State High School League and everybody else, and no one wanted to talk to them. So they had to go federal.
That's why. Okay.
Complaint the parents of the two players to set up meetings with the state's governing body of high school athletes. There's the parents' names. Parents of the Cheyenne River Sioux are seeking federal investigation. No one wanted to talk to these people, and I don't know why. First of all, if it was my kid at the school, they have to, they wouldn't be going to the games for a while for physical reasons. Because they'd probably get the snot beat out of them. Some people do that. Others just, I don't know if everybody else piled on. Why nobody else said, hey, dude, that's enough. You've crossed that line. Everybody, I don't know if the whole school piled on. What blows me away is how no one, here's some more of the story, how no one stepped up and said something. In the original letter of complaint sent to the NDHSAA, North Dakota High School Athletic Association, alleged that during a January 31st game at Jamestown High School, student sections harassed both players by making monkey noises, using the word feather, and making war whooping noises. One student even used the N-word during free throws. Now, okay, I can see that happening like the first time, like the first 2 minutes of a game. Not condoning it. I can see that happening. But where is the superintendents, the teachers of the school, the other coaches from your own home team going, hey, guys, stop it? That's where I'm seeing the problem. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, there should have
Where
been
was the
something.
home school not going, hey, guys, okay, haha, funny, done, stop? That's my problem with it.
Now, the two individuals, they're Native Americans
Yep.
or are they black?
They're Native Americans. So one kid is an idiot, used the N-word.
I don't get that.
I don't get that one either. So
I don't get the monkey noises. I don't get any of this stuff.
Well, they did do woo. I guess that's a woo like that type.
Yeah, that
noise.
makes sense as offensive.
And feather logos. Feather. Okay, maybe the first 2 minutes again, not condoning it, but I could see it happening. But then again, these aren't the first. I'm sure you've seen these kids in the years past. I'm sure you've seen other Native Americans play there.
Yeah, it's a heavy.
Unless this school's always had it let go by, no one's said anything until now. I don't know. This is all on the Inform page, which is the Fargo newspaper, the Forum Fargo, if you want to read more on it. But I guess, like I said, my soapbox, my issue is this, is the school in Jamestown that's happening at Jamestown High School, how the staff, the coach, the hometown team, others then say, okay, haha, stop. Not funny. That's my problem.
Yeah, you think they'd have something because, like I said, they're going to be around that. Any school, any public school that's in a what's it called, a reservation area.
Yep.
You're going to be playing with and or against kids all the time that are Native American.
Yep.
And so, like you said, is it going on all the time? And now they just had enough of it. But why isn't someone being saying something during the game and reprimanding or giving a warning or something? It sounds like nothing. And then the parents go to do something about it. The school and the district doesn't even respond, forcing them to make a federal.
Mm-hmm.
And they maybe didn't want to even touch this with the 10-foot pole and says, fine, go take it federal because we're in a no-win situation. And
because whatever federal says, we'll go by it. We don't want to make up the rules and not cover our bases enough.
They are stuck. They are backed into a corner here, but you're right. It's what a scenario this is.
I bet you I could run for school board on that school next year and win because I'm new, So.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's talk some NASCAR. They had a big race over the weekend.
Okay.
Charlotte 600. Memorial Day, they always do it, but got rained out on Sunday, so they actually did race Memorial Day. We had a few other news stories taken away from the race, Dan. Here we go. First one. My boy, Chase Elliott, gets suspended. I was not going to put the videos on here for 2 reasons.
I saw it.
A, I'm not really sure how, but B, you can go to NASCAR.com and watch these. They got a whole bunch of different clips. I wasn't going to mess with it. Funny thing is let's get basically nuts and bolts. He took out Denny Hamlin. Some people are saying, like cousin Clint Boyer said, did Brad get into Chase a little bit behind him that caused it? Some are saying Chase was retaliating to Denny Hamlin. Funny thing is, Denny Hamlin said, hey, Chase should get suspended for doing what he did to me. When funny, his teammate and owner of his car, Bubba Wallace, said the same thing to Kyle Larson a few weeks ago, and it was okay. But now it happens to Denny, and someone should get suspended.
Well, it's like they hit batters in baseball.
Yes.
It's who did it?
Was Chase retaliating
or is it payback or retaliation? It's this whole chicken and egg thing.
Yeah, Chase, was he getting back at Denny for something else? Was he retaliating for Kyle Larson? Was it just – and because here's the thing. I get retaliation in sports. I totally understand that. But this was early in the second stage. There's still a lot of race to go. It wasn't like they were both battling for 20th with 4 laps to go, and he said, screw you. It was early enough in the race where they had a chance to get it. Chase missed so many races this year with a broken leg earlier, so he can't afford to miss any other races. He needs every point he can get, so he's smart enough to know that it ain't worth if he knew it would be a little bump in the wall, yes. Where it happened on the track, to do it intentionally, if he did, shame on you, but I have a tough time believing that.
Wow.
You're all smart. Go to NASCAR.com and check it out. Here's another one to look at when you're there. Eric Alvarola pushed our boy Bubba Wallace, not our boy, mentioned boy Bubba Wallace from Denny Hamlin's team also. So team 23XI making the news. Long and short of it here, Eric Amarola says in an interview going on here that at one time he goes, I was giving Bubba room. And all of a sudden he comes by me during the race, flipped me the bird. So Amarola went to go ask him what it was all about. Amarola says Bubba starts jawing at me, so he shoved Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace said later going, well, just because I finished 4th ahead of him and, well, he's got 2 faces. Bubba, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. A lot of people were supporting Bubba a few years ago. I think what really killed Bubba was a couple years ago, and I fell for it too. I even said in the show I fell for it, and I felt like an idiot. I came on the show, said, Bubba, I got your back. Then next week I was eating crow with the rest of the world. When there was rumors a couple years ago about someone hanging a noose in Bubba's garage. To find out later that it was fake news, it was a setup thing, whatever. But we all fell for it. And Bubba's lost a ton of respect since then. And he's thinking this because Jordan and Hamlin own his team. And NASCAR's kind of made him a poster boy. He can get away with stuff. There was a clip from last week's race where live on TV, he flipped off somebody going by and nothing was said or done. Bubba needs to be knocked down a few pegs, I think. And Eric Amarola, from what I understand, it takes a lot to get him to make him want to shove you. So Amarola's he's very well mannered, not unlike myself. I'd clock them if he came by me. So you watch again that video there too. We'll see what happens with that one. But here is the standings. Here's first of all the results. Top 5. Ryan Blaney ends a winless streak, and he finally gets a win. He's in. William Byron, 2nd. MTJ, Martin Truex Jr., 3rd. There's a Bubba, 4th. And Tyler Reddick in the number 5 position. So here's the overall rankings. Like we said, you win, you're in. Top 16 guys make it based on points. So here's the top 13. You see there's William Byron still first, Russ Chastain 2nd place. Ryan Blaney there, he won. Kyle Larson, there's all the big names there. And here's where kind of the cutoff is. Bottom 3, there's Bubba. He's in right now. Alex Bowman. Bubba's got a 35-point lead before getting cut out by Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, and Daniel Suarez, who's 20 out. Now, here's the deal. We've had 10 different winners so far this year. William Byron's got 3. Kyle Busch 2. Kyle Larson 2. Top 16 make it, so if you win, you're in. Kind of. We've had 10 different winners, so that's 10 of the 16 spots are taken for. There's still 12 races left. We get 7 different winners. These guys here without a win, you're not making it. That's Russ Chastain. He wouldn't make it unless he wins one of these races. So if we get 7 different winners, He's not one of them. He's out, and he's 2nd in points. Harvick's out. Brad Keselowski's out. So those bottom 3. Bushler, Wallace, Bowman, all out unless they win. Now, with 12 races to go, we get 8 different winners. You could win and not make it because we're not enough points. So there's these guys who have won that aren't exactly relaxing so much. You look at here. Ricky Stenhouse is 12th. He's got to win. He's 12th in points. So 8 other guys win. He gets knocked down right now. So these next few races are going to be very exciting. The guys who have won aren't going to be exactly relaxing. Because again, like William Byron, you can still get more points and get a bigger lead, bigger cushion going in because every 3 races they cut 4 guys off. So you kind of start with a few more points based on how you're doing. They're all important. We'll see how it goes. And I got 2 more, just one more things.
Okay.
First of all, I saw this about Boston sports. Of course, not a Boston fan since 2010. This just kind of did my heart good. 2010, the Celtics lost the NBA Finals. 2011, Patriots lost the Super Bowl. 2012, Patriots lost the Conference Championship. 2012, Celtics lost the Conference Finals. 2013, the Bruins lost the Stanley Cup. And some more Conference Championship losses for the Patriots. Some Finals and Super Bowl losses. A Stanley Cup loss. Red Sox losing in the ALCS. Bruins out in the first round. Now, I granted, Twins don't even have that many chances to say they're lost, or Minnesota teams. Minnesota, get it. Mets haven't been there since 2015 for the World Series. They've lost. Before that, it was early 2000s. So I get it. My team hasn't been up there, but for a city to be up this many times and have no rings, that's a little bitter. Now, granted, at least you've been there, but that's like saying I went to the prom all 4 years with my cousin too.
So does this include a separate list for the times that they did win in this period, or did they?
I don't think they won anything in this period.
So all the New England Patriots football Super Bowls were prior, the previous decade.
I believe so. I think they might have one in there, but still, look how many losses.
Wow. Okay. In there. That's interesting stat. And once again, what Andy's saying is that it's not failure. It's great success, but then failing at the last step. Not bringing it to completion, which isn't really a bad, a negative thing on the team. It's they're losing here in the finals in the standings.
At least they're making it. I'll give you that. At least you're making it. But man, that'd be a bittersweet as a fan to live there, to be so close all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I get that. Yeah.
And one more stat. We're not covering a lot of college baseball today. We'll get that in a couple weeks to get down to the meat and that. But this is kind of neat. Tulane Green Wave was 19-40 this year, and they won the Atlantic Championship, so they're going to Omaha for the tournament as the AAC champions at 19-40.
I saw that stat.
Just got to get right at the hot time, boys, and they did it. But every now and then in basketball, you see a team that was 2 games below 500 or 4 games below 500 win their conference tournament because you get in. So here's one vote for everybody makes the tournament.
It's not this poor of a win-loss percentage at 19-40, but to go in to get the ticket punched, you have to win your tournament championship, and they did. And so you get an automatic bid.
Everybody makes the tournament argument. People are loving this stat.
Wow. It'll be fun to watch. There's 64 teams announced in the Division I NCAA baseball tournament that starts here this weekend. That'll be fun to watch those guys.
And that's all I got, sir. Like I said, I've got goes back to your trivia question.
I've got a half. Yes. There's a trivia question. May 30th today. What happened on 18?
We'll do that before we forget again.
Yes, let's do it before we forget. 1982, a Major League Baseball records famous streak began on this day in 1982. Do you have an answer, Andy?
I know the answer because we talked about it. I was thinking it was a pitching situation.
Yeah, I think people may think home runs, pitching,
consecutive saves or something like
consecutive hits.
DiMaggio, Pete Rose hitting streaks, stuff like that.
But this is the Cal Ripken Jr. stat. Consecutive games played. Went in and played today, May 30th in 1982. And then played every single game for the Baltimore Orioles until September of 1998. Just get your head around that.
Yeah.
It's one of the stats that'll probably never, ever be broken again due to injury or whatever. But remember,
another stat that won't be broken on that is being with the same team for 16 straight years.
Yeah.
Well, that alone, I don't care if you played every game or not. Be with the same team for 16 years. That stat won't be broken.
That could be. Now, Andy, you mentioned a little baseball, and I'm going to give the listeners here an update on the little Division III college baseballs. NCAA Division III. It's the lowest division that there is. They're down to the Elite Eight. There's 8 teams left. They'll be wrapping that up. The next game starts June 2nd, and by this time next week, we'll have a winner for Division III. Now, Division II also. NCAA baseball Division II, they're down to the final 8 teams, the Elite 8. They start with their tournament on the next rounds here on June 4th. And they will be, I think, down to the championship round when we have our show here next week. Remember, Augustana is still in it. Augustana, South Dakota is still in it. A lot of Minnesota kids. The head coach is Tim Huber from Belle Plaine originally. Still heading that up, and Augustana is a very good team. Watch for them. In Division III, Wisconsin Lacrosse is one of those teams also to watch for Division III. Now, the other note for Division I and II, Well, wait, it's actually Division I as well. There's no Minnesota teams left at all, right?
Yeah, we're done.
There's no teams in the state of Minnesota left in college baseball in the state. All the teams are out, Division III, Division II, and Division I. So they're all out. Division I just announced their 64-team bracket for the NCAA tournament. The local teams here to watch are Big Ten. The Big Ten teams is Iowa, Maryland, and Indiana. And so there's really just the three teams left. It's a SEC powerhouse bracket as the teams to watch down in the South. Now, NBA is wrapping up, and we're in the finals going to start June 1st here this week. Number 1 Denver Nuggets is going to be taking on an 8 seed Miami Heat. And so talk about an underdog, Miami Heat, 8 seed in the finals. This is the finals. That begins June 1st. NHL, number 1 Vegas gets in as a number 1 seed. That starts the Stanley Cup playoffs best of 7 series, starts June 3rd. Guess who they're taking on?
The number 8 seed Florida Panthers, last team to make
that is a wild card. The very last team to get in is on a hot streak that you can't even imagine right now, and blowing everything
from the West. So
that should be a fun series.
Both of them, good team against bad team, or high seed against low seed is better.
It's very interesting. The last thing I've got is 2 more things to go here, but other than baseball, is USFL football. They're 7 weeks complete. It's a 10-week season. This league also will be down to 3 weekends left, and their final championship game playoffs, and then that'll be done in 5-6 weeks. So that will be wrapping up. Now, the Minnesota Twins. I am going to show one stat here for the Twins minor league system. And I don't see this anywhere, so I had to compile this myself. But as of right now, here is the Minnesota Twins farm system from top to bottom. Top is class AAA, the Saints. In fact, they just won tonight. They're 28-22 now. They won today. Guess who pitched? Kenta Maeda.
I heard that Maeda's making his comeback, yep.
He's doing a rehab injury. He pitched 2 innings of hitless ball, 4 strikeouts today. Looked very sharp for the Saints. Wichita Wind Surge is below 500. But every other team there is above 500. Cedar Rapids Colonels, the Mighty Muscles. So overall, 97 wins plus the win tonight, 98. They're winning at a 53% clip as of today. Not a big stat, but I've never seen it in this format before. So I wanted to get it out there to the listeners. Now, Twins notes.
Yes.
We've got some interesting things. And we got the bet coming up here, Andy. Tomorrow's
That's
the last
right.
day. We got the bet. But Royce Lewis has been called up. Max Kepler has been called up. Yep. Kyle Garlick has been sent back down. Matt Wallner sent back down. Sonny Gray still leads the Major League Baseball in ERA with the best ERA. Now, this coming week, there's going to be some other moves because the Twins have got to make some moves because of these deadlines coming up. And deadlines in these cases are typical injury deadlines, which means Trevor Larnach is going to has to be called up Thursday or Friday of this week because his injury his deadline is coming due. Now, there's a crowded outfield. Will he be assigned down to AAA? I don't know. Nick Gordon was on 10-day injured, then 30. Now he's been pushed to 60. And Jorge Polanco and Jorge Alcala, both are scheduled to come back this week as well. So Alcala is a relief pitcher. Polanco is second base. So you might see Eduardo Julian sent back down. Maybe Larnach sent back down. So we got some moves here, things coming up. Now, interesting news coming out of Philadelphia is their outfielder named Jake Cave in AAA ball.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Jake Cave is I think a very good 4th outfielder on any major league team. Very good. Not a starter, not an everyday guy, but a great 4th guy. The Twins have all these outfielders coming up. They got rid of him. Phillies picked him up. Didn't start too well when he broke camp with the team. But the last 21 games in AAA, he's hitting .437 and a tough out. They can't get the guy out. So the Phillies fans are thinking, when are you going to bring him back up? Now we need him again. But they have outfielders. So watch for Jake Cave. He could be another trade guy. Not a big name, but if someone's looking for that. And maybe that's why, Tyler White was picked up. Maybe the Mets wanted him for the impending trade deadline coming up, thinking someone else would get him, and now you got some trade chips. Who knows? They're not big names.
But here's the dollars and cents of it.
It could be that.
If Brian Buxton wasn't making $100 million, he would have got cut down a while ago and someone else called up. If Correa wasn't making the money, he'd have been cut. Royce Lewis would be playing short. If Kyle Schwarber wasn't making all that money, him his 182 batting average would be sent back down, and Jake Cave sent up to the Phillies. If Schwarber's making so much money, you can't send that to the minors.
Yeah, it's an
So
interesting
that's the part
dilemma.
that all sports, you can't do that, which is sad because the guy like Schwarber, and I'm sure there's certain guys that sign their contracts, I can't go to the minors. I don't care how bad I'm doing. I can't go to the minors because Schwarber, and that's what's, I'm not crying saying unfair, but you're batting 180 something, 170 something. Your butt's gone. Jake Cave's up. If you're Joe Blow outfielder, you're still be batting first all time? No, but his name is who's batting first. Oh, he might hit a home run to break a scoreboard. Ha, ha, ha. Big deal.
And
if I want someone to hit home runs and strike out all the time, I'd sign Rob Deere.
Yeah, the Rob Deere. The same thing with when Kenta.
That's what Kyle Schwarber is. He's the second coming of Rob Deere.
When Kenta Maeda finishes his rehab, because the money they're paying him, they're going to come up too, even though he's 0-4.
Yeah.
And Bailey Ober's doing much better. Varland is doing much better. We've already got basically a 5-man starting rotation for the Twins right now that are all solid. Where's Kenta going to go? Now, obviously, one of the lower guys in the totem pole are going to get sent back down, bring up Kenta Maeda, who's healthy, but it's his last year of the big contract. So it's interesting moves, to say the least, but we're getting to that point with the trade season coming up, trade time. Who knows what's going to happen? And injuries, I think injuries drive everything. Maybe he'll go to the Mets. I don't see Kenta Maeda being around.
Mets have Verlander and Schwarber. Yeah, Schwarber, and they got the Japanese guy, but they're keeping every 6 days because that's what he pitched over there. So they're keeping him on his rotation.
Oh,
so
really?
Kind of going a 6-man rotation anyway. The Mets need a starter. Do you bring in Kenta Maeda? Do you take Ober, one of the guys from the Twins, off their hands for somebody?
Good. And
hey, you need a base where we got just
interesting thing. Kent is not going to be playing in the minors. Like Jake Cave has spent so many years in the minors. He's done everything he could in the minors. Is he an everyday outfielder? No. Is he a fourth outfielder? Yes, but maybe not with the Phillies. Maybe someone will pick him up. But you're still stuck in that rut.
And here's the teams we saw in the playoff picture: the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, the Brewers, those teams like that. Do they have someone where they needed Jake Cave? Is he that one guy? I'm not saying Jake Cave is, but see that guy get them over the hump?
Rangers? Yeah.
The Kenta Maeda, the pitcher to get them over the hump with the experience, the life experience in the league to help them out.
Yeah, Cave would be another guy that's one injury away somewhere from being traded for and an everyday player or a fourth guy that would stay up in the majors. So it's an interesting thing. And I'm not a big fan. I'm not dissing Cave. I'm not a big fan of Cave, but he plays his role well as a fourth guy, as like a utility or a backup quarter. There's a lot of good backup quarterbacks in the NFL that are very good and are very crappy as starters. But can come in and get the job done. Jason Garrett was a very good long-time career backup quarterback with Dallas. Now as head coach, but it's an interesting thing. We'll see that.
Need help, but
everything driving it is.
We shall
the
see.
What's that?
We shall see. Because like I said, or Schwarber could be the guy who gets traded to Arizona, and just a change of uniform helps him get out of this slump.
And think of a guy like Brent Rooker from the A's on a bad team, playing DH, hitting home runs, having a monster year. He could. You never know. It's all baseball players and the pros. You're all trying to catch lightning in a bottle. You don't know what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. And sooner or later, something happens somewhere else. Next thing you know, you're traded. You're making more money and you're an everyday player before you know it. You never know. That's all I've got here for this week. That was a trivia question. Was Cal Ripken on this day?
Yeah, it's a streak.
The immortal. All right, have a good week, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.